My name is Jenny Lank from Bloomsbury Professional, and I'm here with Michael Humphries QC of Francis Taylor Building, the General Editor of the National Infrastructure Planning Service. Michael, I'd like to talk to you now about statements of community consultation.
Yes.
And can you tell us a bit about the good practice in preparing for one of these?
Yeah, well, statements of community consultation, or SOCs as we would normally call them, are a requirement of the Act. And what they do is they tell the community about how the promoter is going to consult with them. And how means where, when, what they're going to consult on, and matters of that sort. And it's a formal document that explains to the community how they're going to be consulted about a particular project.
Okay. And if you have to consult with various local authorities, how does this work?
Yeah, well, before you can actually publish your statement of community consultation, you have to consult the local authority on what it should contain. So this is, in a sense, consultation about what you're going to consult about. And actually there are a number of reasons why that's a good idea, and you have to consult all those authorities within which the project will actually take place. And you would ask them about techniques for consultation, periods for consultation, when the consultation should take place. But there may be specific issues as well where it's very helpful to get their feedback. For example, many authorities will have undertaken consultation themselves in their areas and have a very good idea about how best to do it. Or there may be in some areas language issues with particular groups who don't have English as a first language. And again, one would get guidance from the local planning authority, the local authority, on how to engage with those sorts of groups.
Okay, so what happens after that?
Well, after you've consulted on your draft statement of community consultation, you then finalise it, taking on board where appropriate the comments of local authorities or any other stakeholders, and then you publish it. And it's published and made available locally, and then you have to publish in a newspaper a statement about where people can inspect it. It's interesting because in the early versions of the Act, when the Act first came out and before it was amended by the Localism Act, you actually had to publish the statement of community consultation itself in the local newspaper, which either made for very short statements or very boring reading in local newspapers, where these very long documents were published. I think government realised that that actually wasn't a great idea, and so in the Localism Act they changed that so that you didn't have to publish the entire statement in the local newspaper. All you had to do was publish where people could inspect it.
And what is the role of the SOC in the consultation itself?
Well, I mean, it's absolutely central to the consultation of the community, and you have to carry out your consultation of the local community in accordance with your SOC. And that means, A, making sure that you do all the things that you say you're going to do and in accordance with the timetable that you say that you're going to do them. But it also means you have to be careful actually not to do additional things which you haven't said you're going to do. And you know, I've seen examining authorities ask questions about, well, why have you done this when you said you weren't going to have to do it? One of the things that the SOC will have to do if the particular development is environmental impact assessment development, i.e. development that requires EIA, is identify that it is EIA development in the SOC and explain how you're going to consult the public on what's called preliminary environmental information. And so that's another important role and another important thing that you have to do.
And what do promoters do in the situation where they have to reconsult with the local community?
Well, I mean, this can happen obviously for a variety of reasons, but one of the most obvious reasons is that you undertake your first round of consultation, and as a result of that and the feedback that you get, you decide to amend your scheme, and amend your scheme in such a way that you actually need to reconsult the community. Now, in those circumstances, it may be that your original SOC is now out of date. It didn't contemplate reconsultation, and it didn't have any indication of how or when you would do that. So there are kind of two broad ways in which one might deal with that. One, obviously, would be to revise or update your Statement of Community Consultation. There's no statutory procedure for doing that, but it's been done a number of times and the planning inspectorate seemed perfectly happy with it. So you just go through the process again. You go back to the community, back to the local authorities, you tell them that you want to reconsult, and you devise a new Statement of Community Consultation and you publish that as a revised SOC, and then carry out your second phase of consultation in accordance with that. Another way that some promoters have dealt with this, where they think this may be possible, is actually to contemplate in the original SOC that there may have to be a second phase of consultation, and they actually write that in, and how it would be done and when it would be done, and that actually is a potential way of overcoming the problem. But this is the sort of point that we've covered in the particular article that we've got in the National Infrastructure Planning Service. I think this particular one's written by Rebecca Clutton, who's had some experience in these things, and she gives a number of thoughts about how to tackle that type of issue.
Brilliant. Thank you for your time, Michael.
Thank you.